Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at the SooSoo Toys Red Knight, aka Red Hood, based off his appearance in the DC TV show Titans. Now I got mine at a discount from KG Hobby. I have popped the link to their site in the description below for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video. This is a review. As always, all opinions are 100% my own. I have not been asked to only say good things. If you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new third-party figure review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, normally I'm a fan of SooSoo Toys artwork. But not this time. Something about this image, whether it's the composition or the pose for Red Hood or the fact that he looks a little bit blurry, just doesn't vibe with me. At least they got the color scheme right, going with red, because, you know, he's Red Hood. Up in the top right hand corner we have the SooSoo Toys logo, and down below, Red Knight. On the side of the box, nothing special, just the rest of the artwork from the front cover spilling over the edge. Okay, you see, this is more like it. This is what should have been printed on the front of the box, not relegated to being inside on this slipcover. At least they have got some good artwork on the package somewhere. Now, one really interesting thing about SooSoo Toys packaging is, see this little sticker in the top left-hand corner on the clam tray? The only reason that's there is to make this clam tray look like an official Hot Toys one. Because if you read it, it says, read the instructions. But this guy doesn't come with any instructions. So SooSoo Toys were clearly getting a little bit carried away in terms of trying to make the packaging look official, rather than actually reading what they were printing on the box. First in-hand impressions for Red Hood? So far so good. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box, and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, which is done in the typical SooSoo Toys style, meaning it's hexagonal, pretty chonky, so it will give him a bit of an added height boost, and we've got the 4 metal grate flooring look quadrants, done in gunmetal this time, with some airbrush shading and blood splatter over the top. In the middle, the Titans Red Hood logo, and over everything we've got this weathering pass, making it look filthy. Even around the edges, the base has been weathered. Then up top, an adjustable crotch grabber. We will discuss the head sculpts in much more detail when we actually install them on the body. For now, all you need to know is that we do get an unhelmeted head sculpt, and the detail is great. Also, leave this plastic piece on the neck. Again, we'll touch on why later. There is a hole down below, so you can install this on the body. Wearing this, the ball joint slides through the plastic and connects up to the neck connector. So yeah, we do get 2 helmeted head sculpts, 1 undamaged and 1 battle damaged. They attach to the body via magnets, which is my favorite way of attaching head sculpts to bodies, because that means that we'll have almost an infinite range of motion when it comes to posing. This one isn't a head sculpt. This is just an empty helmet that's meant to be paired up with the unhelmeted sculpt. So if you do want to have him displayed with the Jason Todd head, you want to have him holding this mask, or you can just pop it on the display base as some set dressing. I reckon it's time to start talking about the weapons. Let's begin with his combat knife. Can be removed from the sheath. It's painted in this shiny metallic silver, with some shading around the back that I think has been applied with an airbrush. The sheath can be holstered on his outfit via this clip, it's just that I don't really know where it goes. When you think Red Hood, I'm 99% sure most people picture him dual-wielding 2 tactical pistols. So luckily we do get 2 of them. The sculpt is great all the way around. And you can move the slide back and it stays back, which I prefer over a spring-loaded mechanism, because now we can leave it there and make it look like it's being fired or that the magazine is spent. Speaking of the magazine, it's removable, there's some painted bullet detail up on top, silver dry brushing over the entire thing, and the front part for the torch is painted in this metallic red. The only thing that I think SooSoo Toys are missing when it comes to their weapons would be blast effects. This was made by Daft Toys for their comic book version of Two-Face. I mean, when you have that on the front of the pistol with the slide back, you can't tell me that that doesn't look sick. So maybe in the future, SooSoo Toys consider adding blast effects. Next up, we have his tactical-looking SMG. If you know what type of weapon this is, weigh in down in the comments. It does have a single-point sling, so he can have this draped over his shoulder, and you can fold the stock back. But it doesn't lock in either position. It just floats around really loosely, which I don't love. The magazine is removable, and there's some painted bullet detail up on top. This is by far his largest weapon, and it's my favorite. You can extend out the stock. This is much sturdier than the stock on the SMG. You can remove the magazine, but there's no painted bullet detail, which is a bit weird. How are the bullets going into the gun? I don't know. Either way, at least you can take it out so you can make it look like he's reloading. The scope is removable, you can take it off the Picatinny rails, and the same thing with the flashlight around the front. There is some metallic red on the scope, whereas the flashlight has some metallic pearlescent white to it. If you do happen to have some blast effects lying around that you do want to use with these, they are compatible because there are just holes in the barrels. Except for when it comes to the pistols. There are no holes for the barrels in them, so you're SOL if you want to use blast effects. And lastly, we get two full arrays of hands, both gloved and ungloved. The gloved hands do come with these cuffs that you can install down the bottom, but the cuffs look more detailed than the actual gloves for some weird reason. There's more texture, and they're painted with a matte finish. Whereas the gloves have this plasticky looking sheen about them, and the panels on the back have this super heavy-handed dry brush over the top. So those were the trigger finger hands. We also get two closed fists wearing the gloves, one gripping hand with a tight grip, so you might have to heat this up if you are trying to wedge the hilt for the combat knife into this hand. Two relaxed open palm hands already installed on him out of the box. Two more relaxed open palm hands, this time without the gloves on. There is some shading on knuckles and the high spots, some vein work, fingernails, and skin texture sculpted in. Two almost trigger finger hands. The trigger fingers are out, but the thumbs are further over than they'd normally be. Maybe we can use these as loose gripping hands for his empty helmet. And lastly, two closed fists. What we are going to do now, though, is get Red Hood himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the lightbox, no crazy poses, or accessories, or anything like that. While SooSoo Toys used to be my favorite third-party company, it's just that nowadays we have so many options like Present Toys and Mars Toys and Toysia and Toys Battalion and so on. Doesn't mean that they can't put out a banger every now and then. Their quality may have slipped with some of their releases, but not with this one. He just looks so freaking real standing here in front of us. His proportions are spot on, you can't see any seams anywhere, the helmet just pops on an otherwise quite dark outfit, and the outfit is full fabric, so we do not have to worry about creasing or damage or flaking when it comes to dynamic posing. But the icing on the cake for me has to be the accessories. You get so many, and the quality of them with the paint applications and the sculpt work is outstanding. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Red Hood's first head sculpt. This one is just the clean helmet, and I do have him currently wearing his hood, so scratch that, let's discuss the hood first. It is done in this darker red material, and there's airbrush shading over the top, specifically in the seams to make them look more soiled and dirty. There's a wire around the front, but nowhere else in the hood. The way that they've stitched these two tracks in up top almost makes it look like he's got unintentional bat ears. Then again, maybe that was intentional, because, the whole bat family connection. I'm personally going to have the hoodie down. I much prefer this look because now the helmet is on full display. And this helmet is downright gorgeous. I never loved the look of it in the show, but somehow, in 1/6 scale, it's won me over. The big white eyes with this mesh texture over the top, then the shading that dulls down this satin metallic red, all of that works for me. We've got some detail in the mandibles, and it's on a magnet, which means maximum range of motion, and it is super easy to swap out. When you pop the unhelmeted head sculpt on, you will have to remove this red textured fabric looking neck piece, because The unhelmeted head sculpt has its own neck. Dude, the standard helmet is beautiful. It's clean, it's crisp, it's pristine, and I love the way it looks. But I do not see a single downside with using the battle damaged helmet. We get all of the benefits of the clean one, especially on this side, the texture for the eye and the paint applications being as sharp as they are. But now we get a whole bunch more stuff to look at on this side with the crack and the silver edging and his face poking through. So I'm going with this helmet, no question. Do let me know which helmet you prefer though down in the comments below. I did allude to the head sculpt being easy to swap out thanks to the magnet, and it is. It literally could not be any easier. Okay, so we do have a fair bit to discuss when it comes to this head sculpt. Straight up, I prefer the masked ones either one over this sculpt. Not to say that it looks bad, because it doesn't. Technically speaking, it is very impressive. There's plenty of skin texture, he's got this furrowed brow look which fits the character of Jason Todd, and there's a 5 o'clock shadow down below. Not to mention the hair is full of life and flow and detail. You can make out the individual curls and these little dangling strands of hair. Something to be aware of with this sculpt, there is a piece of plastic around the base of the neck and there is a sticker on the clam tray that warns you not to remove it. Because if you do and you pose this sculpt, the neck does rub up against the inside of this neck armor and that could cause paint rub. So leave it on, thank me later. I won't be going with this head sculpt for my personal copy of Red Hood, because it is very Titan specific. And tying such a cool looking figure to a show that is dead at this point, I'm not interested in doing that. And I know it's stupid to say because the entire design is Titan specific, because this is how he looked in the show. But it's also generic enough that this can work as either an Arkham or a comic book version of Red Hood. That's how I also see the battle damaged helmet. Yes, you can see the likeness, but the face portion is quite small actually, and it's obscured by shadow because it's inset into the head sculpt. So I don't necessarily see me displaying this head sculpt as a massive issue because I don't think it specifically ties him to Titans. Now, moving on to the jacket. It is made of this almost faux suede feeling material. There's airbrush shading over the top, on the seams just like for the hoodie, and it's got this leather grain texture that makes it look like aged, worn leather. But it is not pleather, so we do not have to worry about cracking or peeling over time. Do still watch out for the screen printed sections. These front panels with the crosshatch detailing screen printed, then the same thing for the inside of the sleeves. But by far my favorite detail about this jacket has nothing to do with the main body of it. It's surprisingly these teeny tiny little faux zippers dangling off the edge of the cuffs for the sleeves. It's the little things like that that just make me so happy. Having in-scale zippers is something that we've only started to see recently. Usually companies will have those massive, big, bulky ones, and it ruins the entire look for me. I know, it sounds like I'm going crazy. I promise you I'm not. When you've handled as many figures as I have, you start to learn what you like and what you don't, and the little details like that do become very important. Now, his hoodie is made of just red fabric, and if I was to hazard a guess, yep, it's a hoodie vest, not a full hoodie. The reason why they've done that is so that they can keep the sleeves for the jacket nice and slim. And it won't hopefully get in the way of articulation as much. We still will be fighting the undersuit and the jacket sleeves, but not a hoodie on top of that. Underneath the hoodie, we've got this rubbery plastic armor with the spray painted haphazard looking bat symbol over the top. There's plenty of texture, and there's even more texture on the fabric for the undersuit. Then we have the screen printed panels on that as well. One of the main reasons why I love collecting superhero costumes in 1/6 scale is because you pick up on things that you missed when you saw the character or the costume on screen, because it's quite dimly lit or the character is moving around really fast. This belt is actually his Robin belt. He's repurposed it and repainted it for his Red Hood costume. Now, we do have these straps connected to his holsters, but That's not what holds them on. It's these straps over his thighs that hold the holsters in position. You can remove his pistols from them, and there's some green airbrush shading over the top of the holsters so that they blend in a little bit better with the green tinted pants and the strapping. Got some screen printing down the front for these panel lines. Then we get to these sculpted plastic knee pads. They are, I think, glued down to the surface of the suit. I prefer when companies use Velcro just because when you bend the knees, there is a lot of pressure being put on these pieces. And just based on past experiences, they do tend to fall off from time to time. Luckily, SooSoo Toys have given us split cut boots this time. Every now and then, they like to chuck us a curveball and give us the stupid single piece boots which massively limits range of motion. Not an issue with this guy. And they look almost entirely seamless anyway, because this armor plate does sit over the top of the bottom part of the boot. There's this leather grain texture sculpted in. The armor plates are shiny and metallic, including around the front and back for the bottom part of the shoe. And there's some buckles and straps sculpted back here. I do need your help though. If you know where the blade goes, please weigh in down in the comments below. I was thinking maybe on the belt, but the clip isn't big enough for that. Potentially on these straps, or maybe even around the back. I'm not really sure. If you were wondering if you can use the unmasked head sculpt on the Robin body for Jason Todd, totally doable. Same neck connector, same length of neck, still keep the plastic on there, pop it right in, and now this is what he looks like. And the same goes in reverse, the Robin head sculpt on the Red Hood body. And doesn't this just look awesome? There's something about this domino mask that just fits what's going on with the rest of the outfit. I didn't think I would be tempted to display him like this. Now that I've seen it, oh, I'm more than tempted. For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the left, the new SooSoo Toys Red Hood, and on the right, the Jason Todd version of Robin from Titans, also by SooSoo Toys. As you can see, they're the exact same height. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using the same base body underneath the costumes. If I had to pick right now which one was my favorite of the two, if I could only keep one representation of Jason Todd in my display, oh, I'm going with Red Hood. Next up, SooSoo Toys Nightwing, also from Titans. This is the 1.0. There is apparently a 2.0 coming whenever SooSoo Toys feels like it. It's been a while, so who knows how much longer we're still going to have to wait at the time of filming this video. Nightwing is taller than Red Hood. I'm okay with that. Dick is older than Jason in the show, and in terms of comic continuity, I don't mind Red Hood being shorter because I see him as more of a brawler. Ooh, this I don't mind at all. I thought that for sure I was going to display this Red Hood next to Titan's Nightwing. Now maybe I should display him next to Titan's Dick Grayson Robin, also from SooSoo Toys, who is also taller than Red Hood. There's something about the armored chest plate and the shape and size of the belt, the similarities between these two, that helps them mesh well standing together. Even though we never saw Red Hood in the Nolanverse, who's to say he wouldn't look like this? That ab section alone, with the rails that sit behind the armor plates, screams the Dark Knight suit. So while he wasn't designed to be displayed with Bale's Batman, I don't mind if I do. I had to adjust the camera for this last one because Arkham Knight Batman is freaking gargantuan. He towers over Red Hood. Do these two work? Maybe. We do sort of have a Red Hood from Arkham though, in the form of Arkham Knight with the swap out Red Hood pieces. If this is something that you had in mind, this is what that looks like. Going over Red Hood's articulation, starting off with his head sculpt. It is on a magnet underneath the helmet, and the neck is on a ball joint. Combined, looking forward to there, looking up to there, swivel, and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there, relatively unhindered actually. I thought they'd be more restricted thanks to the multiple layers he's wearing. They will go forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going just past 90 before it springs back down. Then for the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. The torso being pretty heavily armoured, I reckon will limit the range. crunching forward to there, going back to there, swivel, and pivot side to side. When you're moving the legs, you do want to watch out for these straps connected to the belt and the holsters. They will go forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee going past 90, and it's on soft ratchets. And then for the ankles, a double ball peg, plus a split cut boot design. Good for forward and back, swivel, as well as ankle tilt. Wrapping up on SooSoo Toys Red Hood. SooSoo Toys have been taken down a peg or two for me recently. Not because of anything they did, really. I mean, their quality has slipped a little, but other third-party companies have surpassed them in terms of quality and the array of characters that they're making. And the speed of their releases. SooSoo Toys takes a very long time. Sometimes. It's just entirely up to them. So where does that put Red Hood? This guy is bloody brilliant. His proportions are super realistic. He comes with a ton of accessories, including 2 full arrays of hands, and 3 different head sculpts. You can't really beat that when it comes to a 1/6 scale Red Hood. Not just because this is the only 1/6 scale Red Hood, if we're not counting the Arkham Knight figure released by Hot Toys, which we're not, because that's Arkham Knight. I'm just really happy with how this guy turned out. The quality of everything has blown me away, and this is a real return to form for SooSoo. I'm hoping that they do continue this upwards trajectory with their subsequent releases. Only time will tell. Now, I got mine from KG Hobby at a discount. I have popped the link to their site in the description below for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video, this is a review. All opinions, as always, have been 100% my own. If you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.